Good evening, everyone. Hopefully everybody's doing okay. I'm going to do just a real quick weather update, or rather, not just a weather update, but Tropical Storm Sally update, and what I will go ahead and just presume that tomorrow morning it will be Hurricane Sally. If not morning, it will definitely be by mid-afternoon. So it's about 10:20 Central Standard Time. You can see it in the upper left-hand corner of my screen, 22:20. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you a couple quick graphics. This is the current Doppler radar here. We are located in Dauphin Island, Alabama, which is located just off the coast of Alabama, a small barrier island about 3 miles offshore into the Gulf of Mexico from the main coastline of Alabama. So pictured here is you see the current Doppler radar of Tropical Storm Sally. The latest update just came out, and Sally has jogged a little bit to the north, as you can see here in this picture. So not just due north, but to the northwest, which has caused the current forecast cone to bend more back to the east. So yesterday it was in this type of setup, and then today it was the cone moved further to the left or to the west, and now it has moved back to the east. It has slowed down some. Again, with this slow type movement, this really causes a lot of concern and worry in this type of area, with the current rain forecast being upwards of 10 to 15 inches. I have seen some forecasts where they're predicting 15 to 18 inches. So this is the future radar, or the future Doppler radar, over the next, say, 6 hours up until about 4:15 tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning is going to be a really interesting day. I do plan to get up really early in the morning and catch the sun as it comes up, and see if we can get outside at high tide and see how high the water is outside of our home. So the current forecast track, again, is expected to move to the north, to the northwest, and now take a more northerly turn and make a landfall somewhere. Again, there's a wide track of the cone, but somewhere, in my opinion, right now, where my longtime friend, lifetime buddy Mike is, in the Gulfport, Mississippi coast area. So I'm going to go here to just some different graphics real quick, and just show you guys what we can potentially expect for tomorrow. Again, I am right here. So tomorrow, starting Monday, I'm going to say probably around noon, maybe earlier, we can expect tropical storm force winds to head onshore right here in Dauphin Island. Now, outside right now, again, it's dark, so I tried to go out and film, but it was just a really gritty picture. But outside, the wind is definitely howling. We were watching a tennis match, and then we did one of our tennis shows, and it was just absolutely just pounding the windows. Not terribly strong, but a 30 mile an hour, 25 mile an hour sustained wind with some squalls already coming in. We had some windows leak a little bit on us because the wind was, pretty steady, and the rain was pelting down at a couple of times, causing us some window leakage. So the storm is definitely coming. Well, enough about that. Let's jump into some of the forecast models. Let me flip my pen off. I should know better than that by now. But let's look at the latest National Hurricane Center forecast for Sally. So earlier today, the pressure was around 999 or 998 millibars. It has dropped now to 996 millibars. So it hasn't gained a lot of strength in terms of wind, but this thing is getting better organized. The storms are beginning to become concentrated around the center. There was some wind shear off to the western side of the storm, which kind of kept it from getting really kind of tight. But now that has began to abate a little bit. So this is the 10 p.m. advisory, so it's moving really slow. And one of the biggest problems with slow-moving storms is that when these storms pack so much rain and so much precipitation, they stay around the area for more than one high tide cycle. So when these storms move quickly, the storms just stick around for one high tide cycle, and then the storm goes away, and then we go back to kind of normal per se. But this storm is moving so slow this storm is going to stick around for multiple high tide cycles. So by tomorrow morning, it says 7 p.m. on Monday, but tomorrow morning I do expect at high tide, which will be about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, the water behind my house to be well up above the bank or well up above the bulkhead. So I do plan to catch that early in the morning so I can get some of that filmed and get ready for 3 long days of weather. I do plan to stick it out. I don't know when we'll lose power, but I do expect that to happen. So we get a high tide and we get 15 to 18 inches of rain on top of that, as well as a northeasterly flow in terms of wind coming onshore. We are definitely going to be looking at a definitely kind of very hazardous flooding situation. So here, especially on the west end of Dauphin Island, we definitely can expect some maybe even life-threatening storm surge. Right now they're forecasting maybe 4 to 7 feet on top of high tide. So we can have a thunderstorm here at high tide, and we can get maybe, just a foot of extra water, and it comes into our yard here on the bay side of Dauphin Island. So this is going to be a really interesting flooding potentially event that's going to occur here. So everyone, hey, Northern Gulf Coast, anywhere from, again, Pensacola, Baldwin County, Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Gulfport, Mississippi, Dauphin Island, of course here, Alabama, Gulfport, Mississippi, Goshen, Mississippi, Ocean Springs, New Orleans. Now imagine New Orleans, which when they receive over 5 inches of rain, the levee system and the pumps there get overrun. They run out of steam to pump all the water out of the city at 5 inches. So if we're looking at 10, 12, 15, 18 inches of rain, then New Orleans will have a big problem come the next couple of days. So here's, again, the current forecasted track. It did shift more to the east again. So earlier it was, kind of coming here more to the west, but that has shifted more to the east as it has slowed down. And also with nothing keeping it from gaining strength at this point. So let's click off of this and let's look at some of the other models now that we have had kind of a shift. Here are the tropical storm force wind probabilities. So again, earlier today, we were not in the purple, and I know a lot of people kind of stopped paying attention to it. We were out teaching some lessons today, and a lot of people kept saying, yeah, it's going to go west now, it's going to go west now, and I kept telling them, it's not necessarily where the center of circulation comes through. It is the size of the storm, and there is some upper, the pressure above the storm is high, so that allows this storm to gain strength. It lets it grow in altitude, and the storm can breathe. So it's sucking air in from underneath the storm, and it's breathing it in, and it's kind of exhaling it out the top, and the pressure is high, so it allows it to do so. So as it slows down and gains strength, you're asking for just a really type of interesting, to say the least, setup for a big-time flooding situation. We may not get the most intense winds here. Now, you can see on this graph that the purple is winds plus 90 miles per hour, and we are right in that. So let me draw a quick mark where we are. We are right there. So we are now in that purple, which means winds are expected of upwards of 90 miles per hour in the next 48 hours, and that is a big swath of big-time brunt force winds. I can only hope to get some good video out in it tomorrow, and I hope it happens within a daytime period so we can get out there and have some interesting videos to share with all you guys. Please stay safe with this one. Winds of 90 miles an hour cause roofs to fly shingles off like shrapnel. It causes garage doors, furniture to fly around like missiles, so be really careful. If you go outside into the heavy elements or the heavy winds, be careful with that. But the big time threat here on Dauphin Island is storm surge. Anywhere on the upper or the northern Gulf Coast, whether it's the Florida Panhandle, the western side of the Panhandle, Mobile, Alabama, on the bay side especially, right here, again, anywhere to my west in that basically projected cone per se. Be careful with this one. This is just the wind forecast at this point, so let me zoom out. So this is kind of a time frame of when we can expect tropical force winds becoming or coming to us right here in this general area. So Monday, that's basically a couple hours from now at 2 a.m., The tropical force storm's wind will be is close as Apalachicola, Florida, just shortly after that into Pensacola, and it shows that us here at around 2 p.m. tomorrow can expect tropical storm force winds here as well. Pardon me, by the way, it's kind of late, and my wife and I just spent a couple hours doing one of our tennis shows, so I'm kind of just doing this haphazardly, didn't really prepare for it, so if I stumble a little bit, my bad. I hope to be up early again in the morning tomorrow. Was up this morning at about 5:30. Doing the same thing, so pardon me for not being on spot like usual, but we're going with it anyway. So we again are right where that circle is that I drew on the lower part of that circle. So tomorrow at 2 o'clock p.m. It's going to get very dicey here. Now the tide will begin to go out at that time, so I think the high tide events that will cause us issues will happen on Tuesday morning and on Wednesday morning, especially as this storm slows down. I do think that the tide will be extremely high in the morning, so I think when I catch the sun coming up tomorrow, I think we're in for kind of a wake-up call, because tomorrow I don't think it's going to be near as bad as Tuesday. I think Wednesday morning, early morning Wednesday, will be the really dicey day here. I think New Orleans will get a big dose of their tides and their surge event even before us, but we'll see how that kind of pans out. So let me back off of that. Here's the current precipitation forecast, which is absolutely amazing. So this is the precipitation forecast for the next 1 to 5 days. So you can see in the graph on the right that this is inches of rainfall. You see the purple? That is 15 inches of rain to 20 inches of rain, and we are right there in that area. Let me change the color here. So 15 to 20 inches of rain in this general area is disastrous. Number one, you have high tide, 2 high tide cycles, maybe 3 high tide cycles. The ground gets saturated on top of storm surge. Power lines can topple. Trees can become uprooted and fall over. It can be absolutely disastrous with this much rainfall. There was a hurricane back when I was a boy, or younger for that matter, I think college. Mike, you'll remember this one. It was Hurricane Danny, and it came into Mobile Bay, and it sat there for a couple of days. It wasn't a wind event, but it was a really, really, really kind of a disastrous situation simply because of the rainfall. And a lot of you may remember that if you were in this area, but 15 to 20 inches of rain is absolutely unheard of. This is more rainfall than some places get an entire year, and we might get it in just a couple of days. So watch out for the rainfall forecast. There's nothing to really say outside of prepare for this one. These models that, whoops, I see we just got a storm surge warning right in the middle of this video, so that's really interesting that happened. It's issuing, you can read it 36 hours before hazardous conditions begin. So this is no joke. We got warnings popping up. Public safety alert just popped up. The tunnel is blocked. We have 2 tunnels that go under the Mobile River in downtown Mobile. So this is telling you that, hey, right now the tunnel is already blocked. This is no joke. These alerts have been popping up. We've got another one. Oh, we don't want to see that one, and hopefully everybody's okay there. Let me close that out. All right, so these are the current models. Now, earlier today, these models were all going more westerly. I said it on the first video that I did that I disagreed with the models. There was nothing steering this potential storm outside of a kind of a little front sitting here, but it was not going to inhibit it from strengthening, so that would basically cause this storm to draw more northerly. Once storms begin to strengthen, they tend to pull northerly, and this storm is in a prime position to strengthen. So now a lot of these models are going right over my buddy Mike there in Mississippi, and we know what happens. The northeastern quadrant, the right front quadrant, is always the most hazardous part of the storm. So here we are, the northeastern side of the quadrant. Storm conditions should start happening in the morning. Again, the wind is already howling outside my house. We've had a couple of squalls. So it's here, and it's here to stay. So everyone, again, sorry for my kind of hiccupy speech here. Been a long day. Looking forward to tomorrow. Excited about it in a way. At the same time, kind of worried about it. We hit the store today. We got some food that wouldn't kind of perish if the power went out. We do expect the power to go out here. We're kind of used to that. The power goes out during thunderstorms, much less during a 3-day massive rain event where we can expect 18 inches of rain, possibly 4 to 7 feet of storm surge. and as well 90-mile-an-hour winds. So this is going to be something that we will all remember for a long time. So please watch out for this one if you are on the northern Gulf Coast in the eye of, or in, not in the eye, there's not an eye developed eye yet, but in the path of this storm. So everyone be safe. I will be up early tomorrow morning and try to follow this for the next few days. So sleep for me is going to be important. I didn't get much last night, so I want to get some tonight. I do plan to get up very early. Alarm is set and get out there and get in it. A good friend of ours has invited us over to his place, which is right on the beach, to do some videos as well. As I close this video out, this is the current intensity models. Right now, all the models are indicating it's going to come on shore as a Category 1. We still have 1 or 2 models that inch it up near a Category 2. But again, that doesn't necessarily matter at all with storms like this, because the rainfall across multiple high tide periods is absolutely going to be the causal factor of catastrophe during this storm. So everyone, back your cars out if they're near low-lying areas. Get them to higher ground. Get away from the salt water that will tear up the car for sure. Pick up chairs, lawn mowers, anything that can be covered in salt water. You're going to want to get up to higher ground. Otherwise, hopefully insurance is there or safety is in place, because things will be lost. Anyway, lastly, we're just going to look at the latest radar, and this will be the infrared radar that will show you kind of how the storm is churning at this point now. So this storm started down here in this area, right? Let me change my color. Very Hurricane Katrina-like, started in this area, kind of meandered here, and it's now started its northwesterly turn. The convection has begun to develop around the center. Earlier today, the center was kind of out on its own, and nothing was really wrapping around it. But look at the amazing cool cloud tops that are beginning to just funnel into the air. You can see this circulation really starting to take shape. So this is becoming better organized. So in the morning, I wouldn't be surprised if this was at 990 millibars, maybe 988, maybe 992. It's currently sitting at 996 and has fallen from a starting point of 1,004. Well, what does that mean? That means the storm is strengthening. So again, we are here, right here, and this storm is headed this way. I did get an alert earlier that because of nothing really steering this storm and some westerly type winds aloft above the storm. So above the storm, there are some westerly type winds that are above it, which cannot rule out the core of this storm actually making an eastern wobble as it approaches shore. So anybody in the Mobile, Alabama area, especially Biloxi, Gulfport, don't rule out the core of this storm. And I mean the core, the core could very well cause you issues tomorrow into Tuesday and into Wednesday. This storm will be around, so definitely watch out for it. But in this area, I would not be surprised if it was the core that came across near the Alabama-Mississippi line or just westward, which will cause a big time events just off to the right side of that, which is right where we are. So I'm going to bed, guys. Much love to all of you. Best of luck moving through this one, and we'll see you tomorrow. So I'm going to pull up my map one last time, and I'll go into the past, which is basically current. And we are here right where that dot is. So right now, this is a look at exactly what's going on outside my door. These squalls came through earlier. You can see these squalls that came through earlier. And just those little squalls that came through were rather intense. I mean, the wind was, not terrible, 20, 30 knots, but the rain was just absolutely pouring. And these squalls and this entire meat of the storm are still about a day and a half away. So anyway, again, it's late. Hopefully I'll be fresher in the morning. I wanted to put something out. Big shout out there to Google Master, who's in Trinidad and Tobago. He asked me to do a weather video before I went to sleep, so hopefully I wasn't too weary. Big shout out to Amy Schneider. A huge shout out, as always, to Mike Etter, my longtime friend that we've covered these storms forever. Steve Clevenger, as well, that has a home here that is out of state. And all the weather people out there, what are your thoughts? What do you think this storm will come ashore as? Category 1, Category 2? What do you think the storm surge will be? How bad do you think it will be? If you're here, what are your plans? Where are you going? Let me know. If there's anything here, if you have property here, if there's something you want me to check on, let me know. As long as I can get there, I will do it. So please just let me know your thoughts. If you need something, I do plan to stick it out here no matter what. So much love to everyone. Get the comments going. I will give you shout outs if you have something to say. I'll be happy to do it in the morning. But I do plan to start doing videos very early tomorrow. So much love to all. Please take care. If I miss something, hey, put it in comments. But the storm is strengthening. It's moving northwest at 8 miles per hour. So it has slowed down from 13 miles per hour earlier. So this big duration wind, rain, and storm surge event is here. So take care, much love, and peace out. And thanks again, Google Master in Trinidad and Tobago, for all your help. And Mike Etter especially, much love to all of you. And I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Going to bed. See ya.